All right, time to finish off the show with rapid reactions. A lot of topics, a little bit of time. Take it away, Drink.
Let's roll, baby. The LA Clippers forward Paul George was fined $35,000 for criticizing the officials after Wednesday's night's loss to the Dallas Mavericks. Your thoughts?
I'm so tired. I'm so tired of players getting fined for talking about the officials. Stop talking about the officials. Just let the coach handle it. I think that'd be my advice to the players. Leave it alone. It ain't helping. You're only just taking money out of your own pocket. Just let the coaches deal with it. Toronto 905s, that's a G League team, by the way. Gary Payton II was announced as the G League Defensive Player of the Year yesterday. I guess great defense must run in the family.
Hey, that's what it seems like. And you know what? I'm gonna say this for you, Gary Payton II. Thank God defense do run in the family, because you know what? A lot of these, kids of greats don't usually pan out well. But I'm happy that this is panning out well for Gary Payton Jr., Gary Payton II. Hey, keep doing your thing. Hopefully you can bring that to the NBA, and let's see if you got what it takes. But you know what I'm saying? A tremendous accomplishment to him. In the past week, baseball have had just one positive COVID test out of 14,845 tests. Great news, right?
That is great news. Yep. Moving forward, I hope we get one day, very quickly, that we don't even have to talk about COVID tests and get the vaccine out and get everybody shots in arms and all the rest of it. And but yeah, it's looking back at you remember some of the troubles baseball had early on in their season last year with the Cardinals and the Marlins and some of those teams. Yeah, that's great news, and good to see that they seem to have a little better system in place. So yeah, excellent news. The Milwaukee Bucks have acquired Houston Rockets veteran forward PJ Tucker in exchange for backup point guard DJ Augustine and young forward DJ Wilson. The Bucks also got someone named Roderons Kurix. No idea who that is, but he's coming along too. The Bucks have been a little under the radar this season. You think Tucker is a missing piece they needed?
Yeah, I think Tucker could be. So you know how we like to talk about the tough guy, the Marcus Smart type of guy, the Morris brothers type guy. I think PJ Tucker can be that guy. With his defense, his toughness, he's not a guy that's looking for the ball all the time. He don't want to take a million shots. Yes, I think he would definitely be a benefit to them. We'll see if he's a missing piece, but he's definitely a piece to help them win a series, if that makes sense. And the other guy, Kuzic, I remember his last name. I never knew his first name. He's a shooter. So if they got room for a shooter coming off the bench, I think that's what his role would be. So I mean, I think it's a good trade for the Bucks. And we know what the Rockets was like. The Rockets about to trade some more people. Like nobody want to be there. So anybody with any stature outside of John Wall don't want to be there. So yeah, we're gonna see more of this. But to answer your question, yeah, I do think he's a needed piece. Let's see if he's the missing piece. In a separate deal, the Bucks dealt forward Torrey Craig to the Phoenix Suns in exchange for cash considerations. Big deal, little deal, no deal.
It's the classic little deal. Torrey Craig couldn't really break into the rotation for the Milwaukee Bucks, but if you remember, he's pretty valuable piece for the Denver Nuggets in years past. Started a lot of games for him, and another 3-and-D type guy. I think Phoenix could benefit for him. We watched a little bit of Phoenix this year, and I think they could use a little bit more depth than they have. I think Torrey Craig will help with that. Jaguars coach Urban Meyer expressed some frustration with the free agency process and how it differs from recruiting in the collegiate ranks. What'd you make of his comments?
Nothing. He just got to adjust. It's just anytime a big time college coach comes up to the NFL, they're going to deal with growing pains. They're going to deal with frustration. Because you think about it like this, and I know people are going to say, well, Cliff Kingsbury didn't seem to have that problem or whatever college coach. But Urban Meyer was dominating college football. This is different. He's coming into a whole new arena. It's kind of like what the Nick Sabans of the world, and you don't have like Pete Carrolls of the world. Like it's an adjustment. It's an adjustment. He just gotta figure his way out. He'll be fine. But I can't say I'm totally surprised. Like this is a different ball game for him. So he'll be fine. He's a smart guy. He'll figure it out. But I can't say I'm surprised that he's frustrated with the process. But it is what it is. He'll get it though. 17 MLB teams have named their opening day starters so far. Which is the most surprising to you?
I shock you, but the most surprising starter I saw was Clayton Kershaw, Los Angeles Dodgers. I would have went probably Walker Buehler, but don't forget they also brought in Trevor Bauer. So a lot of different ways they could have went. Could be just the old classic veteran love move. Clayton Kershaw been there for so many years, so many wins and all that. But I would have went Walker Buehler probably. After 11 seasons and 8 Pro Bowls, the Bengals have released defensive tackle Geno Atkins. He did not record a sack in 2020 and missed half the season with a shoulder injury. Any suggestions on which team should be in the market for Atkins?
I don't know. I guess it depends on what you think about Atkins. Listen, you're gonna get him cheap. So if you need the D tackle help, 1 year, probably 1 year, maybe 10 mil. 8 mil, something like that, because he didn't do a whole lot last year. Now you're gonna get him cheap. So I think about teams that lost significant amount. What was that? The Ravens just lost Judon, or something along the lines of that. But it's gonna be interesting because you don't have to pay him a lot. So he shouldn't be on the market long unless you think the injury is really a problem, the shoulder injury. Because he's been a consistent player. Let's not make no mistake. But after 11 seasons, didn't record a sack because of missed half of the season because of injuries. That sounds like a I'm getting old problem. So we'll see how that goes. In his introductory press conference yesterday, the new Lions quarterback Jared Goff said, and I quote, "I don't see it as rebuilding at all. We will assume he's talking about the Lions. You agree or disagree with Goff?"
No, he's absolutely right. It's not a rebuild. Because in order for it to be a rebuild, you would have to have had something built in the first place. So, it's not a rebuild. They've just been building for years. No, listen. You know what? Jared Goff is lucky that we had this NCAA tournament weight room fiasco and then, Deshaun Watson and all these lawsuits that keep popping up all over the place. Oh, we should have put this on the main topic and just laughed Jared Goff and Dan Campbell out of the NFL for just some of the nonsense they've been spewing lately. I think they out here doing. Lions are going to be the classic disaster that they always are. And Dan Campbell, you remember what he said about Deuce Staley? Oh, I'm grooming NFL head coaches. They're doing too much. If nothing else, the Lions press conferences should bear watching because they say a lot of things that get my attention. Anyway, last one tonight. It's UFC Fight Night. Brunson versus Holland on ESPN Plus at the UFC Apex in Las Vegas. The main event is a UFC middleweight bout between the number 7 ranked contender Derek Brunson and the number 10 ranked contender Kevin Holland. Who you got, Drink?
Man, this is a good one. This is a goodie, folks. The middleweight division, I think it's been a few events here that they've been headlined. I'm gonna go with Kevin Holland. You know what I'm saying? He's young, coming up, 10 ranked contender. He's been doing his thing. Brunson is looked at more as like a gatekeeper for the middleweight division. Still a good fighter, as you see, 7 ranked in the world. Still at top of the division. I don't know if he can get himself in position for another title shot in his career. But like I said, he's a gatekeeper. Kevin Holland is an up-and-comer. This is the type of fight that he would need to get himself into the title conversation. So with that said, with the long reach and skinny frame and all that, I'm going with Kevin Holland. I think he wins this fight. This one probably go decision because Brunson is probably going to be the most ground and pound, grueling guy that he didn't fought up to this point. And so I think it's going to be a unanimous decision, Kevin Holland, and that's it.
All right, and that concludes today's Drink of Wisdom. As always, like, listen, share, subscribe, and leave a review of the show if you got the time. We'd appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. I'm Jay Watts.
And I'm Nathan Drinker. And remember, make tomorrow better than today, and make today better than yesterday. And you know what we going to do. We going to holler at you until next time, baby.